Let's talk about talks between Russian and Ukrainian delegations taking place this morning. People in Ukraine are ready to fight for their country.
And Fox's Mike Tobin, he's live in Lviv, Ukraine with more on this. Mike, how optimistic are the Ukrainians when it comes to these talks?
Not very. You heard from President Zelensky saying that he didn't expect much to come from these talks. And in fact, he said the reason he's going along with them is he didn't want the Ukrainian people to say that he didn't do absolutely everything that he could possibly do in order to bring about a ceasefire. But it is the first round of ceasefire talks. Normally, that takes a few rounds of ceasefire talks. So progress is the fact that people are showing up for those talks. A couple of trouble areas we're watching right now. The town of Kharkiv to the north and east is coming under intense rocket fire right now. And from the locals, we hear that there are dozens, and in fact, hundreds of civilian injuries, dozens of civilian deaths in the town of Kharkiv. And there's an armor column, a Russian armor column about 3 miles long that is advancing in the direction of the capital city of Kyiv. To this point, the Ukrainian forces have been able to hold the capital city of Kyiv, but this is an ominous sign with this large armor column heading in their direction, guys.
Isn't it true, Mike, that Ukrainians have actually disabled some of the bridges in Kyiv so that the Russians can't get to that area?
Correct. They have blown up some of their own bridges. In fact, in the south of the country, there was one Marine engineer down there who went to blow up the bridge to prevent the Russian armor from crossing, realized he couldn't do it in time and sacrificed his own life to blow up that bridge. So they will damage their own infrastructure if it means slowing down the Russian advancement. And they're doing a tremendous job of it. I think the world community is surprised at the resolve of the Ukrainians and their ability to bring the fight to the invading army.
Absolutely. What's your experience been like? Has it been frightening?
What we get here in the city of Lviv mostly is air raid sirens, very reminiscent of the kind of thing you would expect from a World War II. My experience is to be very impressed with the Ukrainian people. We were taken out yesterday to the underground resistance, if you will. These are the people who are helping resupply the fighting forces. They were making things like camo netting, Molotov cocktails. They were taking old liquor bottles, filling them with petroleum and soap. They're using the soap because that turns it into a napalm-like jelly in the event that they can break the firebomb on a person or a piece of equipment that makes the fire stick on whatever the target was. Really remarkable. Getting together, people working like an assembly line just to resupply the fighting forces in the towns of Kiev and Kharkiv and the other places where the fighting is more intense.
And Mike, as these ceasefire talks do not go well as the Ukrainians may be expecting, what's going to happen next?
Well, what you have to anticipate right now and what we're seeing is that the Russians will increase the volume with which they're attacking. Clearly, the Russian fighting forces are frustrated. Clearly, Vladimir Putin is under a lot of pressure, not the least of which is because he's receiving a lot of casualties on the Russian side. He's got to respond. He's got the bigger army, assuming what he's going to do is to come back heavier and less discriminately. And if what's going on in Kharkiv right now is any indication, less discriminately is what we're going to see.
All right. Thank you, Mike Tobin. We appreciate you talking to us from Ukraine. Please stay safe. We appreciate it.